speech. A spokesperson of the Chinese embassy in India, Ji Rong, has fumed over what Narendra Modi has said, going on to say that it is groundless to call China expansionist. He has said, and I quote, China has demarcated boundary with 12 of its 14 neighboring countries through peaceful negotiations, turning land borders into bonds of friendly cooperation. It's groundless to view China as expansionist, exaggerate and fabricate its disputes with neighbors. Of course, these words are falling flat as I go across to our political editor, Aishwarya Kapoor, because really, China is the aggressor and is the one who continues to poke India when it comes to the LAC issue, doesn't want to sort out the boundary issues that has been pending for quite some time. And in this case, of course, it is quite obvious that they are in no position to preach to India, because India has only responded to the deceit of China.
Chinese envoy now basically trying to come out with a very lame defense, trying to say that yes, China has sorted out its boundary issues with 12 of its 14 neighbors, when it's a known fact that yes, their boundaries lie with 14 countries, but they have land dispute with 21. And the kind of expansionist policy which the Chinese have been following, namely with Bhutan, Myanmar, Tibet and Nepal, these are the countries which are neighbors to India as well, is a known fact for the world. So whatever the Prime Minister of India has mentioned today is a reality. China needs to smell the truth, China needs to smell it, and at the end of the day, these kind of statements are nothing but few words, because they do not matter, because at the end of the day, the policy which you follow on ground, the policy which your troops and then your government agencies follow at the border is something which is completely opposite to it. The kind of expansionist, the kind of aggressionist policy which the Chinese army has followed, not only with India, but all its neighbors, it's a known fact. And that's why we say India stands not alone, but with the world. Japan, you see the countries which don't even, the countries which do not even share the boundary with China, they are even standing with China because they know the reality. Shivani.
Yeah, absolutely. Aishwarya, thanks a lot for joining us. My colleague Shravan Sen is also with us, and joining us on the big story today is General J.J. Singh, former army chief. Thanks a lot for speaking to Republic TV. I want to begin by taking your response on that word expansionist itself, because it seems, J.J. Singh, that has pricked China. That has hurt where it hurts the most. But is there any better way to describe China and what China has sought to do as far as India is concerned and many of its other neighbors are concerned?
Yes, Shivani. I will take some examples from history, recent history, as well as the past, to tell you that the Chinese psyche is that once their army has gone anywhere, that country, that territory belongs to them. Now they claimed Tibet, which was an independent state for almost 5 decades, till 1951. And with their armed aggression, they called it a liberation of Tibet. Liberation from whom? So they expanded and got the whole of Tibet. If you take out the map of Tibet from China, China will not be so big a country. It will reduce by at least 1/3. Second point, when China had boundary problems with Russia and Vietnam, they had an ambush like the one they tried to do in Galwan, and the Russians lost about 20 soldiers there, or a platoon worth. But the Russians taught the Chinese a very good lesson. This is in '69, that they ambushed the whole battalion of Chinese infantry and decimated it, which was again because they were trying to expand into a territory and they had a problem. They had a problem with Vietnam, where again they wanted to go in, but the Vietnamese gave them a bloody nose. So I think historically China is aggressive, and it also is expansionist in the sense that the previous Dalai Lama, number 13, he had mentioned to his biographer that China takes one step and looks around. If nobody sees it or stops them, they'll take the second step and then they'll go forward. This is their attitude, this is their strategy. And therefore, he says, if we are not careful, then Bhutan will go, Sikkim will go, and Tibet will go. This is what the 13th Dalai Lama told. It's in his autobiography. So historically speaking, and presently also, this Seven Dash Line, this Taiwan, this Hong Kong, the various other things which are now cornering Xi Jinping is forced him to try his diversionary tactics on the line of actual control.
But General, at this point of time, China should basically understand this is not Vietnam, this is not Taiwan, this is not Tibet, this is India, and this is India of 2020. You dare not do what you've done. 20 of our brave hearts, General, laid down their life, attained martyrdom, but not an inch of a land. That message is clear to Beijing now, General, and especially after today.
Absolutely, and that is the way Russia treated them. They, as I said, they destroyed one unit of theirs completely. After that, the Chinese understood. They understand power, they understand force. And now they also understand that Indian armed forces are strong and equal to them. And if they do any misadventure, they will have a bloody nose to show their own countrymen.
Well, General Singh, if I can also ask you with regards to the Prime Minister's visit, how does that essentially alter the future military level talks that are going to take place? Because all this while, perhaps the attitude of the Chinese have been extremely being belligerent and rather being, high-handedness that we have seen from the Chinese side. Do you think perhaps it sets the tone for the future military level talks that are going to take place and things perhaps could change on the ground?
I can only say one thing, that firstly, the Prime Minister's visit is a historical visit. It will do a lot to raise the morale of all our forces, military and paramilitary, and also the people of Ladakh and the people of J&K and the rest of India. Talking about how China will take it, China will understand the message that India is not going to budge, and whatever agreements have been made will be adhered to, unlike in the past. China has a history of not honoring their agreements or treaties. When they don't like a treaty or it doesn't suit them, they say, oh, this treaty was made when we were weak. Or they will say, well, it was not done the way we wanted it done. So Chinese are procrastinators, and their aim is to prolong the talks so as to frustrate the other side. So procrastinate to frustrate is also one of their philosophies. And India has given them the 14 hours dialogue each time, or more than 10 hours, that we are not going to get frustrated. We will answer you, but you have done a wrong thing and you therefore go back.
Yes. General, you mentioned that the Prime Minister's visit is historic. I just want you to ask a little bit more to elaborate on that. Now, you've seen political leadership in your time and the infamous Siachen episode as well. I want you to contrast what the Prime Minister is doing today and has done over the last 6 years to what has been witnessed in the past, and how our neighbours perhaps have taken advantage of what has been referred to as soft power by India in the past, and how that has changed drastically today, if it has, according to you.
Yes. It has definitely changed, and the impact is being felt all over the world, and particularly with our neighbours. Within the country, in any case, it galvanized the people to put up a strong front and ensure that the aggressor is given a bloody nose. That's one. The second thing I want to mention is that China has been doing such things in the past also and has gotten away with it. And therefore, this time, when they are confronted with a united India, with a leadership which is leading by example and from the front, I think they have got the message after what happened in the Bhutan Tri-Junction area, Doklam, and here they have got the message in Galwan, and they will also understand if they do any further misadventure, it will be met with an iron fist.
If I may then ask you with regards to Following this particular visit, do you think this is perhaps just the trailer? The entire movie is yet to be watched. Prime Minister setting the tone for something larger. Do you foresee that things would be very different henceforth?
Firstly, not only here, but all along the line of actual control, which is of 3,488 kilometers, our forces are alert in all places. And in some places, we have advantage of the geography, and where we have plans to retaliate in case they continue or they do anything again as a misadventure. The second point I want to make is that China will certainly look at India with more awe, and also they will feel that it is not going to be a cakewalk. And now, when they have been told to fall back to their positions of April, and we are insisting on that, and verification will be done, it will take some time. And we should be prepared for it. But I can assure you, our army is more prepared to live and survive and sustain itself in these rarefied atmosphere and high altitudes than the Pakistani army, which has been moved in from certain other parts of China for an exercise. And you could say, in a surprise move, tried to gain heights on our side of the LSE, which they were stopped from doing, which they were prevented from doing, and they have agreed to go back to status quo ante.
Whether they do or not is another matter, but certainly India is not going to be caught unawares by China anymore. And the message is very clear that if you attempt anything ever again, then India is not just going to thwart that effort, but perhaps take it one step forward as well. General JJ Singh, thanks a lot for speaking to us. I also thank both my colleagues, Aishwarya and Shravan, for joining me.